Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerials podcast. Hello out there to you all. Just wanted to send some love, support, and compassion out there on the airwaves. This podcast is worldwide, and I hope you people out there all over the world listening to us, me and my guests, and you might be close to or touched by the conflict that's happening in Ukraine. So I just want to send out love. Also, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity if you need a platform, if you want to talk about your story, if this conflict has touched your life, just contact me and, I'll have you on the podcast. We'll talk about it. I know that it's not necessarily on the topic, but this is a worldwide community and this conflict is touching so many people in so many different ways. And I'd love to hear from you. You can always email me at carrie@wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com. And if you check the show notes today, there's a free gift for you. As always, check there. There's lots of free resources for you on my website. So today we have Tracy Miller. I can't wait for you guys to hear this interview. Let's get started. Today we have Tracy Miller, and how her and I started talking to each other was via email, because I sent out an email named Fears and Anxiety, and she wrote back. And by the way, you guys, if you email me, I'm going to write back because I'm the only person running this business. I don't even have an assistant. So, and then we realized we knew a lot of the same people and that she went through this injury. And so I would love for you to start out, just tell us about yourself, what you do on a daily basis, kind of your aerial story.
Well, on a daily basis, I work for UC Berkeley, but I also taught aerial silks for about 10 years. I started on the flying trapeze about 18 years ago, and it just sort of, this is going to sound weird, but once I got bored with that.
That does sound funny. And 18 years ago seems like a long time ago, but then it's not really because it's only like 2003.
Right. So I, my whole journey began with deciding to make a list of the things I was afraid of. So this is a good actual start for this. And one of my fears was heights. So I took a flying trapeze class.
That always,
as a normal person would do.
It always blows me away because the amount of people that are in class, that is their number one motivation for being there, that blows my mind. I'm like, that is just running straight into it face first.
Well, when I went, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be, I can do this. No big deal. Until I walked in the front door and I looked up to see where I was going to actually be doing that. And I freaked out and I had a panic attack. I had vertigo when I was on the platform, and it was not fun. And for some reason, I went back the very next week.
Did you start managing your fear of heights because you started to feel control over what you're doing up there, basically?
Yeah, I think what happened was the skill comes first, then the fear starts to subside. Once you feel like you have some sort of confidence about, I know what's going to happen next. I think that's how it worked for me.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I was in 8th grade and we did one of those ropes courses, They put you out in the woods and put a harness on you and you have to do all these obstacles. And I cannot remember being more petrified. And now I'm an aerialist, and I would never say that I have a fear of heights, but that day I was like, and I think it's because the things that they put you in were just like so, it was too much at once, and there's no technique to it. It's just like go and trying to like jump from, zip line from this tree to the next. Yeah.
Right.
But I really do think that because people ask me all the time, I was like, it's because I feel like I'm in so much control up there. And for a control freak, it's perfect.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
I don't know.
It really does. And which is, so I started on the flying trapeze and suddenly just became, an advanced flying trapeze artist at the school where I was training. And when I got bored with that, I started noticing. So I was a dancer. My background is in gymnastics and dance. And I started noticing the aerialists. I started noticing the beauty that I saw on silks in particular. And I thought, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So I just started transitioning over. And let me tell you, that was 5 years of me doing flying trapeze and also static trapeze and single point trapeze. And when I got over to silks, I couldn't pull myself up very well. I could not invert. And you would think it would be so like it would just
for you. Do you know?
I don't know. It didn't take long for it to start working. And I think it just had to do with the fact that I didn't understand the technique.
Okay. Got it. And sorry, Tracy, where is all this in the world? Where do you?
Oh, Oakland, California.
Okay.
At Trapeze Arts is where I started. Okay.
So you didn't completely abandon silks. You kept on going.
No. So I want to mention age, and I don't know why, but when I first started flying trapeze, I was 40.
Oh, okay.
When I started silks, I was 45.
Got it.
And, not that matters, I don't think, but like it matters in terms of I started late in life.
Sure.
So if anybody's out there that wants to start late in life, do it. There's nothing stopping you.
Oh my God, I love this.
So then I started, I guess a couple, 3 years later, I started teaching. And then the teaching, I taught for 10 years. My last injury I got injured. Let me start first. September 2019, I got a full hip replacement on my right hip. And my recovery from that, so that was September. I started teaching again in February of 2020. Then the pandemic happened, March 2020, and everything shut down. And so it was a little bit while before I eventually purchased an outdoor rig and started doing a little bit on my own again. But I just started getting back to feeling like myself again after my hip replacement. And I guess the motivation was I'm going to teach again, right? So I felt like I worked really hard to get myself back in the air and able to teach because, as you know, teaching is a different animal than just doing your own thing on silks. Yeah. Because you got to talk, you got to breathe while you're talking. You have to go super slow. Through difficult transitions to explain. So, I felt pretty strong in February, and then it just sort of, everything shut down. And I think after that, we just started, I just kept doing everything I needed to do to heal at home. And then when we finally were able to go back into the studio and start teaching again, I felt pretty good. Then I got my right biceps tendonitis kicked in around January of 2021, which took me out for probably 2 months. And I got back up and got strong and I was fine. But then in August, this past August of 2021, my left arm, the same thing that my right arm did, the biceps tendonitis. But this one was different. It happened while I was teaching, and I demonstrated something while I was in the air. Something didn't feel right, but I don't remember being hurt. I just remember feeling less strong. And when I came down to the ground, and my students went up in the air to start trying what I had just demonstrated. And I went to, how we talk with our arms. And I went to say, oh, you've got to, and I went and threw my left arm up to say something. And there was this click, 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 and I couldn't lift my arm. And I was like, great. But it was the week before I wasn't to teach anymore. Or the studio was closing, and it was sort of like perfect timing, but also weird. So I say all of that because my motivation was gone to get better fast, if that makes sense.
Tracy, I have so many questions.
Please,
why did you need the hip replacement? Did your hip degrade at some point?
Yeah. So, this is a cautionary tale. So it's a cautionary tale about get fixed sooner than later because I had injured my hip in a silks class, doing a bomb drop, and I somehow, my right foot hit the pole, the tight part of the fabric, and my leg just sort of threw my leg off to the side. So like in a full, like straddle split on my right side, but really quick and really hard. And I heard a sound. And, I did what we all do. I kept going. And I knew I was in pain, and there were certain things that I couldn't do without feeling it. And it just got worse and worse and worse. Over the years, I got several MRIs, several shots, steroid shots. And, eventually my surgeon said, it's actually quite surprising that you can walk.
So, but what was it?
Oh, it was osteoarthritis, but it started from the injury, and it just got worse and worse.
Got it. Okay. So you ended up with the hip surgery, and what does that hip feel like now?
Great.
Oh, that's good.
I wish I'd done it so much sooner. That's why I say this is a cautionary tale.
Okay, so going into your story, now your right and left biceps have tendonitis, and by the second arm, you're like, you didn't have any motivation to push. So tell us.
I had some. Yeah.
No, tell us. I want to hear about this part.
I had some motivation, just that I want to be in the air. It's my church, it's my spiritual place. So, I wanted to be back in the air, and I wanted to keep doing what I wanted to do. But part of me was like, it's over. I had sort of this doom and gloom with this one, more so than any of the other injuries. This one, I just sort of felt like I don't have it in me to recover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like that has to do with the injuries being so back to back? Or do you think it has to do with your age?
I mean, I think that all of those are a factor. And so when I think about it as far as my age, because I'm now 58, and I don't know what 58 feels like, but I don't feel like an old person. I feel like a strong, capable person. So I don't think it's over for me. I mean, look at Drea Weber.
Oh my God, Drea Weber is an inspiration.
I love her.
Yeah.
She is such an inspiration for me, and has been since I started aerial 18 years ago. She's been that person in my life that I've thought, I can do this for as long as I want to do it. Look at Drea Weber. That's how I always think. And so my fears started to kick in when my left arm wasn't healing as quickly as my right arm did, or it felt different this time. And what I came to the realization was that during my right arm injury, my left side did all the work. And I did get back up in the air quickly, and I did start teaching pretty quickly, but I was compromised. But my my body parts that were still strong and were still working were just like, we got this. But I didn't realize that was what was happening. I just thought, I'm healing, I'm fine. Until the left arms happened and I realized that was the side that was doing everything. And so I had to start on this pathway of strengthening my right side again so that my left side doesn't have to do all the work anymore, and trying to get even in my rhomboids and I lost all of my back muscles. It was so strange. And yeah, I started getting really afraid of being in the air, which is the first time that that's happened to me since I turned 40 and did my first jump off that flying trapeze. Like this kind of intense fear of heights came rushing back. A fear that I couldn't hold on to the fabric, a fear that if I climbed too high, I would fall. Just all of this information coming at me from my own psyche that was just fucking shit up left and right. Sorry, cursing.
No,
okay?
No, it's totally fine. I feel like, that correlation that we don't necessarily think about all the time, but the correlation between our strength and our comfort up there is like, if you don't feel like your grip can hold you, of course you don't feel confident.
Right.
Yeah, it's a huge, everything else has to be strong in your body, but first and foremost, it has to be your hands.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we might take that for granted.
And that, that wasn't necessarily the case that I couldn't hold on, but I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to, that it sort of, it made me tentative. It made my confidence level very low. Today, I'm feeling so much better, and I'm feeling like in the past week, I've turned a corner and feeling like I'm feeling stronger in the air again. And I think it has a lot to do with all of the work I've done to try and even out both sides, all of the rehab, all of the physical therapy and massage therapy and everything that I've done to kind of get myself back aligned.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is starting to make me feel a little bit more confident. And so, even, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram.
I don't know, but I need to for sure.
I'm Fabric Ariel on Instagram, and I post quite often. Like I practice, I'll post something. And so even though I've been healing for this period of time from August for this latest injury, I'm putting on a positive front, and I'm putting on, and I'm posting things that come easily for me right now, but there's a lot of stuff that I still can't do. So when I talk about that I'm injured, I don't think people are like, yeah, but you're still doing stuff. You look like you're not injured. And this is the part of the story where I can get a little bit in my head, and that's what other people think of me.
Oh, okay. And what does that look like in your head? Is it that you just want to always project strength and that no one sees the other side of it? What does that look like to you?
Mostly it looks like when I go to train in a studio, I am immediately aware of other people in the room rather than just focusing on what I need to do as far as warming up properly, taking it as slow as I need to take it, not doing anything that I can't do yet, just being really healthy in my own body. What I start thinking of is they're looking at me.
And who's they?
They
Are there any?
me.
Is it somebody specific, or is it just people?
No,
I'm totally trying to. I love this. I love this. I think that is so relatable.
It's like this. First of all, there are a couple of things that I think about, and that is what other people think of you is none of your fucking business. Now that's something
hard,
that I forget. Yeah. So I'm in there and I'm thinking they're all staring at me and, oh my God. And they think that I should be this like person. Like, it's funny because I had one of the instructors over at one of the studios where I train. She was training with me, and then some of her students walked in, and she introduced me as a Silks legend.
Oh, and then did you panic?
Oh my God. I fully fell apart inside. Outside, I was like, okay, thanks.
Oh, no.
And inside, I was like, oh, shit.
Right. Now I have to live up to this label that my friend has given me out of love and out of like support. But
and adoration, and it's absolutely beautiful that that's how she sees me, but like I am not that person right now.
I have a story about this. When I was like 23, I just moved to LA. I was taking from this teacher who ended up being a director I worked with for a long time, and this like dancer who had done everything walked into class, and she was taking the class, just to take a class. And this teacher just stopped everything, gave this whole speech about how amazing she is. But this dancer hadn't taken a jazz class in like probably 10 years because she was on Broadway. She was singing and dancing, and she was, so I don't know if it's that she couldn't do a double pirouette, but oh my God, same thing. Her face dropped. And then of course she took the class, and she looked like she hadn't taken a jazz class in a while. Let me tell you, if I tried to take a hard jazz class right now, I would not look like my resume. Because you have to be, if you're taking class all the time, you're good at that. But if you're not, you might not be at that moment. You have to work up to it again. So no, I totally feel you on that. And I think for me, like I've been really battling with my body since I had the baby. And last week, I have to tell this story on this freaking podcast. So last week I went to my chiropractor. I talk about this guy all the time because he's like the third coming, fourth coming, fifth coming of Jesus, all of them. Okay. Okay, you want the pic? She's like on iPhone, you can like make your head like an animated character. So that's what she's doing right now. It's going really well.
Hi, baby.
But like, so basically I have a little diastasis recti left. And my posture's been terrible because I can't get my transverse abdominis to like fire on its own. Like if I'm like holding everything, then it comes together. But if I'm just standing and relaxed, I look like I'm, 3 months pregnant. And I'm like, am I gaining weight? I don't think so, because if you gain weight and like, if you like, if I bring everything in, I look normal. So I was like, it's not weight gain. I just can't get my posture to function correctly. I don't even know where I started the story, but my point is that my inversions are not what I'd like them to be. And last week I went to see Dr. Tim, and I told him about this. He's like, why didn't you tell me you had DR? I was like, I don't know. He's like, because I can normally tell people, but you're so athletic and it's not very much DR. I didn't notice on you because I could have fixed it. I was like, what?
What?
I was like, wait, that's not a thing. Literally on the internet, like everybody's trying to say that they have this exercise that can fix it, but it's not a thing. He's like, I can fix it. Maybe not in one session, but over time. And I was like, I don't know who you are. So he fixed it. I didn't have a lot, but he like did this like. Okay. You want the panda? Okay. This is so professional. So, anyways, he like put it back, and now and then he gave me exercises to do hollow body because I can't hold a hollow body without really concentrating.
Yeah.
And so my aerial doesn't look like I want it to, and my students they're freaking good.
Right. That's what I was dealing with too.
Like they're really, really good. And I'm so proud. And I would never have anything different. But they're like 25 and they're dedicated and they're freaking good. Right. And I don't feel great when I'm demoing in class because my straddle's way more shallow than theirs. Theirs are open and beautiful like I've taught them to do.
Right.
It's like so hard not to feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you are not alone. I am not alone, I think. But it's just that we might be alone in the space, like the physical space, because, the people who are like you are in different places. So it's hard.
It is. And I had the same situation where my students, I taught the intermediate/advanced silks class over at our school, and that's one of obviously the motivation was that I always felt like I needed to have the fresh material and new amazing things to teach these, kids. Like I had teenagers through 30 somethings in my class. And, here I am in my 50s needing to be kind of better than them in order to feel like I can show them things that they can learn. Right.
I mean, the thing is that when is that possibly going to go away? Because it kind of needs to. Because if I love teaching and I hope to be teaching for a really long time, I'm going to have to get over that they're slightly better than me at some point. I just don't know when that point is. And I think that it's worth feeling that push because it keeps me in shape and it keeps me like, striving to be as good as I can be.
Mm-hmm. But also remember this, it's your perspective.
Yes, I know. And my students say that all the time. They're like, yeah, we know what you mean by your inversions and stuff, but when you actually perform for us, like that, your quality, we can't, that is developed over time. You can't really just learn that in 2 seconds. It's because it's in yourself, and that's what you know?
Sure. That's what you listen to, what they're saying and not what you're saying.
But, and you say, the pressure to do cool stuff. I mean, the Loft, Womack and Bowman, the Loft.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. I mean, Rachel and Brett are sort of my coaches. They,
I love that.
Online coaches because I'm Master of the Silks for years. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So I have to say that compared to the past and compared to the past, I don't feel the same pressure to do that with my students because I've been there so long, So I'm so used to being there. I'm tired. But yeah, it's like out of all the studios in the world, it's probably the one where people are like, oh, show me some new cool shit.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The pressure's on.
Yeah, and I don't feel it as much because it's just now my job. And I think it's different for people coming in just to teach one class.
Right.
But it's real. It's real. And yeah, I kind of put that away a long time ago. But the thing that I'm missing right now is to feel that way regardless of how I'm feeling in my own body.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to put those two things together. Mind and spirit and body. Well, that's 3 things.
Yeah. It's a lot of things. And I really wish that, she's better now. So yeah. So looking forward to your practice. So where are you now and what do you think?
So in the past week or so, I feel like I've turned a corner in my recovery, and all of the extra work that I've been doing as far as rehab and PT and massage has sort of. Do you ever feel this where you work really hard, you feel like nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden,
like everything
clicks.
Yes.
That's where I'm at right now. In fact, on Sunday, I was training with some people and they weren't, this is another thing. They weren't paying a lick of attention to me because they're thinking about themselves.
Right.
So there I was climbing the silks and I was thinking, this doesn't hurt. And also I'm pulling up fully all the way, engaging my rhomboids and it's like the best pull up climbing I've done since August.
So good.
And so I stopped midway through the silks and went, oh my God, you guys. And then everyone looked up and I said, I think I'm going to start crying. I don't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Aww. And like everybody clapped and everybody was just like so happy for me. And it was really sweet. But it's one of those, it's just like one of those things. I feel like the last however long it's been now since August, all I do is talk about I'm injured. And it's almost like I walk into a studio, I meet somebody for the first time and I'm like, hey, I'm Tracy, I'm injured. It's like, why? Stop talking about it. Like, it's just so, it's like I'm letting that define me rather than I'm just working really hard to get my body back where I want it to be.
Yeah. But at the same time, I understand that sentiment of like, the real Carrie is not here right now,
Yes, yes.
She's having a coffee right now, and you get this other version, like half of who I'm supposed to be. And that's just terrible. Like what we do to ourselves. I have another student who did the podcast last December. She had patella dislocate while she was doing egg beater slack drop.
Oh no.
And it was a bad one. It was bad. And she's back, and now she just did her first like footlock straddle back last night. Aww. Yeah, so everybody's cheering, and it was a very good day. But like the emotions, you can just see on every single person's face who goes through an injury and has to claw their way back.
That's a good visual.
I know.
Because that's what it felt like from the beginning of me finally saying, okay, you're not going to quit. Just keep going.
Well, it's hard to do it once and then twice. And then, it's like, that's a big reason why I don't want to have a second kid, to be honest. Oh. And that's not the only reason. Me and Asa are like, we're not in our 30s, we're in our 40s. And it's kind of like, I don't really feel like playing that genetic, roulette.
The genetic lottery. Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons, but I don't want to have to try to come back from, because I came back from breaking my ankle and leg 10 years ago, and then I had to come back from a C-section. I'm just like, I was willing to do it, man. But man, it's hard.
When I hear that and I see, because I follow you, I don't know if you know that. Oh. I'm a big fan.
Thanks.
And I think you're stunning in the air. Just absolutely beautiful. You have musicality and dance quality that I long for. But when I hear that you came back from something like that, and I know about Sarah Romanowski's big fall and like all of that stuff, man, I just see that's the kind of stuff that feeds my motivation too, is just like knowing that it's possible and seeing people who didn't give up. And so it's very helpful. Like this might possibly be helpful for somebody out there that's gone through similar things that I've gone through. I think it's going to be helpful for many people. Just because, I don't know. I don't know. Oh my goodness. She wants to see her grandmother video, which I have to find for her. So no, I think that a lot of people will find that extremely inspiring, because it's so often the case where people get injured.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know a person who hasn't had an injury. Small or big, right. That of course depends. But, or just, oh my God, who? Ellis Mara, that's her IG handle. She had 5 kids vaginally.
Oh my God.
And then now she's back in the air again after her 5th. I'm just like, man, So I feel like sharing these stories does help. Even for me, who's interviewing these people, I'm like, man, I'm fine. Like, it's all right. Might take a little longer than I want it to. So do you have advice for any people out there who are maybe not where you're at? Maybe they've just gotten injured and they're, like, oh my God, seeing this long road in front of them.
I have all kinds of wisdom for other people.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I have 0 wisdom for myself.
Of course, that's the way it works.
I mean, it's all about just keeping perspective. And, I'm in some 12-step programs, and the acronym for FEAR is false evidence appearing real. And that's just us making shit up to be afraid of. It's just sort of like, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And, what if? And I feel like, just do the work. If it hurts, don't do it. Continue strengthening, continue your mobility exercises. I have a great mobility coach, and she's really helped me along the way with everything that I've gone through, hip replacement and the biceps tendonitis. Just, having the right people in your corner. And when you start talking evil things to yourself, try and reverse it. Like, it just does you no favors. And, I've learned it the hard way, and it's okay to talk about what you're going through. And it's okay to talk about it over and over until you're done talking about it.
I love this. And Tracy, what would you say is, as an aerialist, is your strength and your weakness?
In my practice, or in my
practice,
in my head? Oh.
No, in your practice. Well, I guess it's a complicated question, but yeah, answer it however you want to answer it.
Okay, well, I'll talk about skills. Like, I started Silks, 13 years ago, and at the time, nobody was doing straight arm straddle ups. Nobody was doing straight arm things or hanging from one arm back then, or teaching it or doing any of those things. So I don't do those things. And I feel like everybody does. And so that's another thing. It's like, telling myself that everyone can do this but me, it's not helpful. So that's a skill level and a head thing all at once. And certain things like that. I don't do like dynamic release moves or anything like that. I feel like my thing is dancing and flowing. And that's what I love. I love sequencing. I love transitions, making transitions smooth and flawless. And I love to perform. And so eventually I need to build another act so that I can put myself out there again.
Oh, I love this answer. I love this. I think that if other people outside looking in would never guess the thoughts going through your head. I have a feeling, because even just talking to you, confidence, I can hear it. And I think that partially that comes with age. Like, as I've gotten into my 40s, that has like gone through the roof. Regardless of how I feel about myself, I still am able to speak with that confidence. So, I hope that grows, obviously.
It will. And I also think it has to do with the, I don't mind saying this out loud. I'm clean and sober. I've been sober since 1986. So I have been doing some serious self work for a very long time. And so I look at myself with that magnifying glass probably a little too often, but in some ways it's helpful because I can get through things because I don't avoid them.
Okay. And would you say, being an aerialist over 50, that what has had to shift, what hasn't had to shift, and give us some words of advice for, the ones that aren't there yet, but will be there.
Well, I feel like I said, I started Silks when I was 45. So I don't think anything's changed except I've gotten stronger. And I feel like I've got a lot more in me. And I am cautious about like learning certain things that seem dangerous, like release moves. Mm-hmm. I'm not interested.
Okay.
With that kind of stuff, because I just feel like it's probably a little too risky. But I think I would have felt that way early on anyway. It's just not something that I'm willing to do, I guess. But other than that, like I really don't. When I talk about like I'm 58, but it doesn't feel like that. Like I feel like some of my best friends are 20.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple students who are like between 20 and 30, and they feel like their body is 80 years old. And we laugh about it every day because I'm just like, what is going on with you? But you were a gymnast young, right? So you kind of got the opportunity to feel that movement, like pretty intense movement through your whole life. Your experience of it, has it changed? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And I can say this, I can't do a round off back handspring, aerial cartwheel, or an aerial walkover anymore. I would love to be able to do those things, but those aren't things that I even would think about attempting because I'm definitely past that. But as far as aerial goes, I feel like the sky's the limit still. It just still feels that way to me. Like I still feel strong and capable, and there's really nothing that's changed except I've gotten better.
Oh my God, I love this. But also, it's like aerial is the type. it's so hard to explain to non-aerialists. If you are in your practice and you're really consistent and you know what you're doing, it's super safe.
Yeah.
Because gymnastics, dance, there is an element, not that there's not a risky element for aerial, but there's an element that you can't control, a slippy floor. You do a jump, you land wrong. Yes, of course there's stuff with aerial, but I just feel like less, maybe. Less
I agree.
Question marks.
100%.
But so thank you so much for being with me.
Oh, I'm so honored to be even asked. I adore you. I think you're fantastic.
So sweet.
And I listen to your podcast. And so.
No, it's fun. And I really think a lot of people are going to relate to this a lot. Thanks so much to Tracy for carving out the time to be with us today. And thank you guys for listening. If you would honor me with a 5-star rating and review anywhere you get your podcasts, it really, really helps others in this community find us organically. And you can always find me, Carrie, at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com, and on Instagram, CarrieWe1. And check the show notes for free resources on my website. And I really appreciate you guys sending love and compassion out there if your life has been upended by this conflict. And hope you're having an okay week. I will see you next time. This is the Expecting Aerials podcast.